Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Tulsi Gabbard's title in the Trump administration of Director of National Intelligence is getting more ironic by the day. Gabbard just did something incredibly stupid. It involves this.
As Gabbard is revoking security clearance from 37 current and former intelligence officials, accusing them of aiding and abetting a seditious conspiracy.
That's the Trump administration's way of saying the officials helped investigate Russian election interference in the 2016 presidential campaign. But the firings were sloppy. Headline: in major flub, Tulsi Gabbard reveals identity of undercover officer. Quote, Gabbard reportedly shocked Central Intelligence Agency officials last week after she revoked an undercover operative security clearance and posted their name on social media. The Wall Street Journal reported Thursday. Gabbard revoked the security clearances of 37 current and former intelligence officials who had been involved in producing intelligence assessments related to Russia's interference in the 2016 election. She claimed to have done this at the direction of President Donald Trump. The director, Gabbard, was apparently unaware that the CIA officer she doxed had been working undercover, according to one person familiar with the events. 3 other people said she did not adequately confer with the CIA about the composition of the list, but delivered the list to the CIA the evening before she posted it to social media. The Office of Director of National Intelligence did not seek the CIA's input about the composition of the list, and the CIA was not made aware of her intention to post it on X, according to 2 people familiar with the events. Let's break this down. Tulsi Gabbard fired 37 current and former CIA employees because they gathered intelligence about Russian election interference. Then, without consulting the CIA, Gabbard posted the names on social media, blowing the cover of a covert CIA agent in Russia. That now former agent could be in physical danger, and everybody connected to the covert operative is compromised as well. Good grief. The blunder, according to intelligence analysts, is huge. But never mind outing a covert agent, Gabbard's sloppiness and incompetence have been underscored in the firing of other intelligence operatives as well. Former CIA officer Joel Willett appeared recently on ABC News.
Specifically, you are accused of manipulating intelligence. Generally, how do you respond to that accusation?
Well, first, thanks for having me. It is an insane accusation. I don't have any other word to describe it. If Tulsi Gabbard or on her staff had bothered to do their homework, they would understand that I left government in 2015, that I had no access to classified information in 2019 when I signed a letter that was highly critical of President Trump and his behavior on the phone with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine during his first administration. So I had no access to classified information to mishandle or manipulate.
That's right. Willett had no access to classified information, and he wasn't even working for the CIA in 2016 when the Russian interference investigation began. Now, you heard Willett mention a letter he signed in 2019 criticizing Donald Trump. He says that's actually not why he believes Trump 2.0 is pulling his security clearance now.
This isn't happening because of a letter in 2019. This is happening because my name surfaced as a potential candidate for the Senate in Kentucky last week. And a week later, this administration weaponizes the government against someone it perceives as a potential political opponent.
Indeed, critics, especially Democrats, get smeared by the Trump administration. To be clear, every new administration gets to set their own intelligence priorities. Here's national security expert Samantha Vinograd on CBS News.
The president has a prerogative to set what are known as national intelligence priorities, to really identify what are the core intelligence issues the intelligence community should focus on in any given year. Those national intelligence priorities drive the budget. They drive resources. They drive focus. And every president has the discretion to set those, brief Congress, and move forward. The range of issues that our intelligence community is focused on has grown significantly since 2005.
2005 is when the government created the Office of the Director of National Intelligence following the 9/11 terror attacks. And while the office has grown and intelligence capabilities have intensified, the focus under this Trump administration has been controversial, to say the least. Recently, headline, U.S. spy agencies told to gather intelligence on Greenland. Just months later, headline, Denmark summons top U.S. diplomat over Greenland influence operations.
Yesterday, Denmark's foreign minister summoned the top U.S. diplomat in the country after the national public broadcaster alleged people with connections to President Trump were trying to foment dissent in Greenland. The semi-autonomous Danish territory has long been coveted by Trump.
Denmark has now reportedly complained to NATO allies about the U.S. intelligence actions in Greenland. And Denmark has been a U.S. ally, at least until the Trump administration and his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. But the Trump-Gabbard damage goes beyond Denmark. Recently, headline, Gabbard barred sharing intelligence on Russia-Ukraine negotiations with Five Eyes partners. The memo, dated July 20th and signed by Gabbard, directed agencies to not share information with the so-called Five Eyes, the post-World War II intelligence alliance comprising the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Multiple U.S. intelligence officials told CBS News. Now, Trump and Gabbard are shredding that alliance. And keep in mind, the United States relies on intelligence sharing around the globe with these countries and others to prevent terror attacks. But the greater priority under Donald Trump and Tulsi Gabbard may be to protect Russia. Tulsi Gabbard has long been accused of being a Russian agent. Donald Trump has long been accused of doing Russia's bidding. Nothing lately is going to diminish that view. And now, Tulsi Gabbard has blown the cover of a CIA agent in Russia. In other administrations, that kind of recklessness and stupidity would prompt congressional hearings and firings. In the George W. Bush administration 20 years ago, the leaking of a covert CIA operative by Dick Cheney's chief of staff led to a special counsel, indictments, and a criminal conviction against that chief of staff, Scooter Libby. Now, the Trump administration doxing of a covert CIA agent is just another day in Trump world. Tulsi Gabbard should have never been nominated by Donald Trump or confirmed by the U.S. Senate. She should have been fired months ago. The next best time to dump her would be now. Instead of protecting America and keeping us safe, Tulsi Gabbard keeps exposing our nation and ratcheting up the dangers. Enough already. By the way, Donald Trump's federal troops in Washington, D.C. just racially profiled and arrested a peaceful man who also happens to be an attorney. Lawsuit incoming.
To the American people watching, this is what calling out a failed system looks like.
In Washington, D.C., near Logan Circle, that is Paul Bryant. His crime? According to eyewitnesses, he was walking while black.
Again, I was walking peacefully down this block, and I was accosted by 20, no less than 20 MPD, FBI, ATF agents.
And what the federal officers don't realize yet is that Bryant is a military veteran and a successful corporate attorney. Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from James, who wrote, "Welcome to the fascist states of America." Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about Tulsi Gabbard blowing the cover of a CIA agent. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.